Let's dismiss.
All right. Welcome to the King and Me show. I'm one half of this thing, King.
Hey y'all, it's me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
We are Liggity Live, April the 28th. It is the last Monday of the month, but we here. We doing this thing. Some adjustments are going to be made by my lady here. But hey.
How did you tilt it forward?
You have to tilting it forward is going to require some major, like we'd have to rotate it, see where it pivots right there, and then move it that way, that joint right there. Do you think we can do all of that? I can do it if we need to do it.
All right, you do it. You tilt it. Right. Just tilt it forward just a little bit.
You be talking to the people.
So if you notice, I am wearing, that's smart.
How much?
That's good.
Is that good?
That's probably too much.
Okay.
But I can.
But at least you can make the adjustments now.
Yeah, sort of, kind of. Y'all, ADHD.
We'll figure it out.
All right, bam. There we go. Here we go. So, if you notice.
Bam.
So, this is one of the designs that we have on our website, thekingandmeshow.com. This one was created by King Smith himself. This is one of his famous things, always talking about the trains going this way when it comes to relationships, and you can either hop on and go with or walk because the train's going this way. So shout out to the actual King Smith for designing this.
Yeah, and you know what? Thank you. And if there's anybody that catches anything that we say that we don't necessarily think about, highlight it and let us know, because this is what we're doing 2025. We are putting this on our stuff, and we're going to wear ourselves.
And then the other thing, so if y'all say something catchy and you're okay with it, because last week Michael Carasquillo, he said something that we went ahead and threw on a shirt. He said, what was it? Attention with intention. Mm-hmm. And we went ahead and we threw that on the shirt, and we quoted him, not physically on the shirt, but like down below in the display box to say, hey, thank you.
It works. So shout out to Queen in chat. It doesn't say where, but at least it highlights who it is.
Okay. So we're going to take that for the win.
Or is that Queen in chat meaning you're queen and this is the chat?
Oh, goodness.
Hold up.
We were so close.
No. Okay, never mind. We almost had it. That was from Tom. Hey, Tom, we appreciate you popping in.
Hey, Tom.
So, what else do we have? We don't really have anything coming up because the next biggest thing that we have is
our daughter's
graduation. Yeah.
Well, prom. I told my students that you're not going to prom with me.
I'm not going to her prom.
I snitched on you. I was like, I asked him if he wanted to come, and he said no. And they were like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I know. He's abandoning me at prom.
Hey, you know what? That's all right. Snitch all you want.
Because it would have been so much fun. Like, we could have had fun at prom. We could have got dressed up, and we could have took some pictures in the booth and everything like that. I mean, you would have been on chaperone duty. Like, let's be honest.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I really told you why. I know I said a very clear, definitive no.
Yeah.
But
one of those, like, I don't think you thought about it. You just, like...
No, well, yes, I thought about it. But it was a quick quantum level thinking of thought. It's that being that it's her last prom,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a little bit anxious about it. So instead of having that anxiety and being around you, I just figured I'd keep myself occupied in my house where I'm comfortable at and wait until, she has to get picked up or whatnot.
Why are you anxious? What are you anxious about?
I can't explain it. I don't know. It's just, it's her last prom. And um, I, on my last prom, did some ignorant stuff. Not saying that I'm wishing that on her or anything like that, but I would just rather just be in the comforts of a place that I'm comfort while she enjoys her last prom. She went to prom last year, had no issues and everything like that. I don't think she went the year prior, her sophomore year. But I just rather be prepared in case some shenanigans happen that I could pop into dad mode, activate, and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. It's also like my weekend for her,
Mm-hmm.
so that obligation is still there.
Right.
So
And
that's
that's what
it.
I figured. I figured while she was away having fun at prom, it's frozen there, but not in real life. I figured while she was there having fun at prom, you could come and relax at my prom and just kind of like take your mind off of it.
I'd be more comfortable relaxing in my place.
Okay.
But no, I mean, look, thanks for the invite. All things being different, I'm making a different choice, but that's why.
You ain't come with me last year.
See what had happened was
What the year before that?
were we like that the year before that?
Yes.
Was it a mutual we were like that? I was just messing with you.
Yes.
Okay, huh. Well, my bad. Oops. Was it on the same date that Castle's prom was on?
No, because in all fairness, Castle School only does prom for seniors. Other than that, she has to be invited. So technically, this is her prom year. The other two were not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, life be lifing, babe. That's really all I got to say about that. I have a couple of things that I want to say very publicly.
Go.
First of all, thank you. For the last month, Michelle has been helping me out by prepping and making my meals for the week.
It's been a little bit longer.
Oh, really? So about 5 weeks then? 6 weeks?
It's probably been
Since March.
January.
The first 2 weeks after the surgery, because it started
Well,
after
no, not
my
January.
surgery.
February. That's the month I meant.
Yeah, so since February, Michelle has been coming over. I've been buying the products or whatnot, and she's taking the time out of her time to make healthier meals for me. Left up to my own devices, I'm not eating the best. Let me just say it like that. It is not happening. And she has taken time out of her day to come over. She throws on her apron and she gets to work.
I love my apron.
One time she was butt booty. No, I'm just playing. That has not happened. That has not happened. I said that to get her to laugh because I love the way that she laughs. Let's give a couple of shout outs for people that are in the chat before we get started. Shout out to Time for saying senior prom was all I needed. Absolutely. My dad is in the building as well. Shout out to Larry Smith. He said, new hairdo. When you getting yours, King? See, people notice it. I told her
notice it.
that I loved it when I saw it. You took care of that early on Sunday. And when I saw it, I was like, yo, you look good. I like it. So I asked her about it today when she was at her job, and she said, oh, everybody was commenting on it.
The kids were all commenting, but I took it in a joking way. Like, I know they meant it sincerely, but I took it in a joking way because one student had called me out. He has locks as well. He called me out a couple of weeks ago before spring break, pulled me over to the side. Like, we were in the hallway just joking. And he pulled me aside. He's like, Miss Early. And I'm thinking, oh, goodness, he's about to tell me, like, something serious. Because, I know he's been having some relationship issues and stuff. He pulls me to the side. He's like, it's time for you to do your hair. I was like, oh, that hurt. But it's fine. It's all good.
We also got Paul Bennett in the building. I was on Paul and Pete's show last night, which I had a joke about that. But Paul and Pete, Paul on BMU, Pete on Ghost of Sparta. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sparta HQ Network.
Yeah.
They do some fantastic stuff over there, y'all. Go check those guys out. But I cracked a joke because I realized that Paul and Peter were also part of the disciples. So I then listed the remaining 10 and said that they also need to have a John on the show. And I don't remember, I can't name all of them, but I just thought that that was hilarious. But they had a call-in show that they do. Is it once a month, Paul? Correct me if I'm wrong. That was so much fun. I definitely want to be a part of what they got going on when they have that call-in show.
Nice.
And it inspired me to say, I finally got to get our stuff set up so that we can have a call-in show and hear from the people from time to time.
Look, y'all, the last time we were inspired by y'all, we created a website. So it'll get done. It definitely will get done. And hence, the beautiful merch that we have now.
No doubt. Let's see. Do we have anything else before we get into the topic for today, or what inspired the topic for today?
I mean, I think we can jump straight into that. What inspired it?
So about a week and a half ago, Michelle sent me a message or a call.
It was definitely a couple of days ago.
Man, hey, that Southern time is different. If we say we're around the corner, we still about 30 minutes away.
30 minutes away, yeah.
So she was telling me, she said, hey, why didn't you tell me about Toni Braxton and Birdman? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, honey. What's up? And she said they got married and subsequently divorced. I'm like, So when I looked it up, sure enough, TMZ had reported that they secretly got married after several years of dating.
18
years of dating. Mm-hmm. Oh, the references on that, or the sources that were finicky. Some said 18, some said like 10. And
probably 10 publicly, because they were married for a little hot minute before we even knew about it.
Yes. So they had got married last year.
They got married in August. Yeah.
And Toni Braxton filed for divorce 2 days. I'm going to say weeks. 2 days.
The first thing did say weeks. So there is a little bit of a discrepancy, but point blank period, they didn't make it to 15 days married, and she filed for a divorce. But then the paperwork, something like the paperwork didn't go all the way through, or Birdman didn't sign it, something. But the point is, they were still like kind of legally married, even though they had both scrubbed their social medias of one another. And then it kind of looked like on paper they were back together, and then it resurfaced, and now they are headed towards divorce central again.
Now let's level set. These are celebrities.
They are
celebrities. Lifestyles are a lot different than the average
1000%.
But that does not mean that there aren't lessons or things that we can extrapolate from it and discuss as we talk about dating and relationship, and we share our lives. So with that being said, let's get into it.
All right, you got questions for me. I can tell. That says I got questions for Shell face.
You know what? I do, but I want to acknowledge what Tom said about food. Quinoa is awesome, especially with mushrooms, scallions, and salmon. That sounds delicious. I want to try that one day. I actually like all of the things that you just said. Okay. So I'm going to make that happen one day. Take a photo of it and post it online. All right. So now, actually, Paul's question was what I wanted to ask you. That's hilarious.
Okay.
So Paul Bennett wrote on YouTube, so doesn't that prove that a long dating history or even cohabitation ensure...
Maybe he won't
ensure a long or successful marriage? And that's what I was going to ask you, Michelle.
Because it's so funny. I told you about this one young woman that I went to high school with, and how, like, when we got I've been out of high school for 21 years this year. When we got out of high school, I think she immediately started dating this guy, or like the timeline was pretty close. They had been together for 11 years before they got married, and now they're not married anymore. And I don't think they were married for 2 years when they did get married.
That doesn't make sense.
But I do know other people. So her aside, because she's literally the one example.
Okay.
Her aside, I do know people, like I know this one couple that same age as me. They've been together since they were in 7th grade. And assuming that there has been complete fidelity between the two of them, they're the only people they've ever been with, because they've been together since 7th grade. They had a child together, and then when the child was probably like kiddish, so probably like 5 or so, they got married and they've been together ever since. To my knowledge, they're not divorced or anything.
Nice. I can think of one couple that I know intimately that they've been together, never married. They're not getting married. They're both very adamant about that. And they've been together. They have 2 kids together, several properties, and they're thriving. And when people talk about, well, so when are y'all getting married, which is what I learned not to say to them, only because I realized I'm not a fan of when people do it to us.
Right.
And they'll always be like, well, there is like, it was something that they said that really stood out. The marriage isn't for them.
It's for everyone else.
It's for everybody else. And you and I have said that too.
1000%.
And it was them saying it that like reinforced it for me. That's like, well, yeah, that's exactly how it is. Whether you have a public or a private ceremony, when you and I walk down the street, one of the easiest ways to tell that somebody is married is if they have a ring on.
Right.
But even married people don't have rings for various reasons, whether it's work related, whether their fingers are swollen and they just can't put the ring on or whatever. So the real barometer, or really one of the only ways without actually checking a certificate of marriage, is to ask the person, assuming that they're going to be honest with you and state, I'm married, right?
Right.
So the ceremony and the title is for other people. Now, here in the US, there are things that go along with it that changes a bit depending on what your status is when it comes to taxes, benefits, and a whole host of other things. But to have a successful, happy relationship, it is my opinion, I'm not going to speak for her, that you don't need to be married.
And see, I will say, I understand why people ask us that, why people push us towards that. I do get it. But I also look at it, and I say this with all due respect. My dad is on his 4th marriage. My mom was married once, and then she never remarried. Like, she married my dad. That was the one marriage. And
did y'all ever talk about that?
Why she never got married again?
Yes.
No, we never discussed it. Like, my mom hasn't dated since, I think the last guy she dated was like in 2009. And she legitimately like hasn't been on a date or anything like that since then. I don't know, but I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the Tribe family that is up in the building. Mr. He Said and Mrs. She Said, good evening, good evening, good evening. How are y'all doing? I don't know. I honestly, I've never asked her why she never like dated or anything like that. I mean, I know I was a brat when I was in middle school with her dating, and it was literally just one guy who was actually a really, really nice guy. But the only reason I was a brat towards him is because he had 6 kids and some of them were younger than me, and I wasn't about to have no little sibling. Like, I was fine with all the older siblings in the world, but I wasn't about to have no younger
What
siblings.
if he was a real good dude and you just missed your whole blessing?
I wasn't about to have no younger siblings. I was a brat. Like, we're also talking about middle school me. So you have to acknowledge middle school me had a lot of undiagnosed or unknown issues going on.
Yes, ma'am.
And all I could think in the moment was, I need to be able to go through my issues without someone having to give a little sibling the attention that I need. So, okay.
Wow. I want to go back up because Time wrote something here that I would love to hear what Michelle thinks as well.
Sure.
Because I've said this at one point, but I think a little bit differently on it now. So Time said earlier on YouTube, I keep trying to tell good guys, really good guys, that women prefer toxic men and that I'm 100% right about that. And I want to make sure that I read that right. I keep trying to tell good guys, really good guys, women prefer toxic men, and I'm 100% right about that. I used to think that way.
Okay.
Because I would go, why would somebody like, well, I would ask the question, do really toxic women prefer a bad boy or a good guy? And my answer stems from my observations of what I've seen. And I've seen really toxic women prefer having a good guy around because they could get their way with that good guy and he's not going to set boundaries and put his foot down on certain things. And I'm aware of a situation right now that every time I hear things that occur, it seems like it escalates and escalates. And I'm wondering, when is somebody going to tell that man, or when is this man going to say enough is enough?
I I always fear that a more alpha woman is going to get someone who is passes as a beta male, and then she'll end up like breaking his heart, and then he'll be that person who then goes and chases after like toxicity because that's what he was just introduced to. But I also think that when it comes to women, like kind of following up on what Tom said, I think a woman is going to go after what she's seen. And unfortunately, if all she's seen are relationships with hood dudes and, a really toxic guy, then that's unfortunately what she's going to pursue. Not so much because, like, that's what she desires, but more so that's what she's seen. You've never seen a successful, good relationship work out, and you're not sure that you have what it takes to be the woman in a good relationship because you've also never seen it. And that personally, I can attest to. I can attest to me self sabotaging relationships because I didn't know what it meant to be like a good woman, what it meant to be this woman who can attract and maintain a good guy because I didn't see it growing up. So I kind of went to the guys who would tolerate whatever, and that's what I got. Guys who tolerated whatever, and it wasn't good, it wasn't healthy. Then I got older, saw better, did better, and I'm better.
I like how you put that together. Now, I can attest to some things, and I've talked about it on my show in earlier episodes. After my divorce, I was not somebody that should have been out there. My mindset was I wanted to prove that I was still wanted, which is the wrong frame of mind to be when you think you want something, but it's not really what you wanted. So I was telling myself, I just want to be desired, right? So I was accepting any and everything. There were some people who I met that are fantastic that I'm actually still dope with today, that there was no romantic thing there, but they're solid people. And for me, that's what I like to measure people on. Like, even if we're not dating or we met for dates, I don't, if there's like, yeah, we not really gonna work out like that, but we can still be solid friends and have like a network or whatnot, I'm okay with that. It was also one of the things that I identified, and this is a bit of a pivot, but trust me, it's gonna make sense. Earlier on, I told you that I could never be with somebody who was jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And my reason for saying that is because I value all relationships that I'm a part of. For people that I'm not romantically linked to, if they're of the opposite sex, there still might be a reason why I'm connected to that person. It could be a professional capacity, it could be a networking capacity, it could be we have things that are of common that I'm not calling them up to like, hey, how you doing? I just need somebody to talk to. But like if I'm aware of something that's, going on or whatnot, I like to have those kind of connections in my life. And I don't know if I expressed it like that to you. I just said I don't want I can't be with anybody that's gonna be jealous because I don't want things to be misconstrued as, oh, why is he spending time with so and so? And it's like, whoa, it ain't nothing like that.
And I feel like I said this to you at some point in time, especially if it was after a therapy session. There's a difference between being jealous and not trusting the other woman. Like there's a big difference. For me, I trust you. I trust you fully. I have trust issues with people. I don't trust most women. Like when I say most women, I got two sisters. I only trust one. Like that's what I mean when I say I don't trust people. Um so I have trust issues. So it's never like, and I know you're not talking about me specifically, you're just saying in general you said that. I'm just throwing that out there. For some people, it's not that they're jealous, it's that they don't trust. And it's not that they don't trust their partner, they don't trust the other person. And I think sometimes with women, they may get a bad rep for being jealous when it's not that they're jealous, it's just that they don't trust the other woman. And that could come from a lot of things. A lot of things. Like one of the things my therapist did tell me is that my issue of trust stems from what happened to me as a child, and that still replays in the PTSD. And that's how, like, that can cause a trigger for me. So, again, for some people, not all, for some people, it may not be that they're jealous. It could just be that they don't trust the other person. Not the one they're in a relationship with, but the other person. Like, I know you will respect boundaries. I know you'll respect the bounds of the realm of our relationship. But I don't know every other, let me think of an appropriate word. I don't know every other heifer you fitting to hang out with. And this is not me calling any of your heifers, but this is just me saying, I don't know every other heifer you fitting to hang out with. And I don't know if she's going to respect those boundaries.
Okay. So Paul Bennett asked, should couples have friends of the opposite sex? If so, what are the limits?
We talked about this. Go ahead.
Very specific question. You know who I go and do trivia with sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So her.
Mm-hmm.
If you're available for trivia, I believe that you would show up from time to time. Like, trivia is not your jam per se, but you're a social person.
It's that you think I'm smart enough to do trivia. And I'd be
I
like,
believe in you, babe.
I am very random.
Stuff.
I know a lot of random stuff, but I promise you that trivia night, I'd be like,
here's the thing.
What?
About 98%, I'm not going to have the answer to, but that 2%, when I know, I know.
You like, I'm in there.
I think you and I might be in the same boat, but you know who she is.
Yeah.
And if she were to ask, hey, King, there's a trivia, we could use one person, are you game?
Mm-hmm.
What's on your mind?
You already told me that.
But I want to hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go. Have fun.
All right. Now, why?
Why would I say that?
Yeah. Why are you comfortable in that scenario?
Because I met her.
Okay.
Like, I'll be honest, it would be completely different if I had never met her.
That's fair. That's fair.
I've met her. She knows me. I think, like, I have her number still. Because it takes me a while to like go through numbers. We're still connected on social media, I think, in some capacity, or maybe it's that she's connected to our page, but I know her. Now, it's different if I don't know someone. And again, it's not because of you. It's not a jealousy thing. It's just that I don't trust other women. Like, there's no easy way for me to say that. I have trust issues. So.
Now, I have established one person by name that I said, I can't ever, and I told you why.
Right.
And for that person, it was more of if I'm not sure how they are, so to not keep myself in a certain capacity or whatnot, it's just zero contact. One person, and I told her about that one person and why there could be no friendship with that, because I don't believe that person understands and knows how to respect boundaries.
And I have one person too.
Have you said that name?
Yeah.
Okay. So to Paul's question, that was a roundabout way because I wanted to give a specific scenario. The follow-up thing that they said, or if so, what are the limits? My answer for that is that the limits are, like, I trust Michelle. Michelle has to know Michelle has to know what the other person's boundaries would be. So my limits are just what I said. My limits are how Michelle's able to navigate and manage her relationships. Because she's her own independent person. I don't puppeteer who she meets, mingles, shares her number with. I don't control her. She is her own independent person. She has to have agency herself to be able to navigate her friendships in her relationships. And if she's not able to use her own agency to navigate things that wouldn't put a gray area in how she feels about something, then that's going to involve a conversation or maybe actions as to what occurs from that. So that's my answer. What do you feel about limits?
I think so. This is the couple, right? Person A, person B. Person C, so the friend of the opposite sex to one of us, they need to be respectful of the fact that we are in a relationship. And I feel like if you can do that, then that's fine. I have one person that one ex, so specifically an ex that I don't really engage with beyond social media.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mainly because that person, when we broke up, struggled for a while to be able to understand the fact that we weren't a couple anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, took too long to accept the fact that we weren't a couple anymore. So I'm like, okay, I'm social media friends with a lot of people. That doesn't mean that that every single person that I'm friends with on social media, I can call up and like I would consider a true friend, right? But this particular person, I'm just like, I don't think he'd be able to respect those boundaries. So I limit him. Um, I deleted his number out of my phone and that type of thing. But like I needed to be able to create those boundaries so that way he wouldn't think that like he could just start conversing and getting in his head that like, we could head back down a certain path.
Out of curiosity, I'm wondering if I deleted. I did. Okay. I was like, I wonder if I deleted the person that I had named.
Oh no, because I'm good. I really am like when I feel uh a mutual whatever is done, I have no issues deleting the telephone number. What I do still have are numbers for people who I know are deceased. I still have their numbers in my phone because that's something I do struggle with letting go of. Like I feel like if I delete their number, like I'm deleting a part of them. So I still have those. But people that like I'm done with that friendship, relationship, whatever, oh no, I ain't got no issues deleting it.
You don't want to keep it now. Now this is me thinking about me. I have a horrible memory. If I don't like, because I don't recognize, I don't know my own daughter's phone number, right? So if I don't recognize who the number is calling because I deleted them,
There's
but
only
I don't want to
one
pick
person.
up.
There's
Okay.
only one person because for the most part, I still remember the numbers.
Oh, you're good.
Some of them I still remember, but there's only one person that I had blocked the person, and then I had also, well, no, I hadn't blocked them at that point. I had deleted their number, and then they started messaging me again, and I didn't immediately recognize who it was. So I had to add them back to my phone and put a do not answer, comma, this is the person's first name so that I knew not to why I was not answering that phone call.
See, that is what I would need to do if I ever had a situation like that. Which, sidebar, I did get into a situation where I had to change my number because of somebody who I never even dated, but they wanted to date me. And that's a whole story for a whole nother conversation. But I wouldn't classify the person as a stalker, but I did have to file a police report against somebody of the opposite sex because of what they wanted, and it wasn't what I wanted.
I see Times comment
Ooh, go ahead.
that it's not trust issues or it's a me thing. I'm not disputing that it's a me thing. However, I am honestly saying that clinically speaking, one of the things with PTSD is that if there is something that can trigger what you have experienced in the past, it can be problematic. And that was something that has happened in the past. I have had distinct issues with infidelity. So it's not that I don't trust King. It's not that it's a jealousy thing, but that I have seen and experienced women and men, and we just going to skirt over that, who knew that I was in a relationship and still intentionally pursued the person that I was with and did pay no regard whatsoever to boundaries.
Yeah, now and really it's anyone, men, women, whatever. I I follow what time said, and that's why I stated it the way that I stated it with you. It's like I trust you, and I'm going to trust her to
Yeah.
be able to make the appropriate decision about her connections and things.
All right.
So I don't have any issues against anybody unless two things: I observe something that's out of bounds, or B, Michelle tells me something that someone specifically said or did that was out of bounds, and that person knows that she's in a relationship. Because that's the other thing, right? Like, if you're out grocery shopping or something, right? You get hit on because
And I'm oblivious to it.
like folks don't see the ring or whatnot, and I'm like, all right, like, that's a whole different story. Someone presses up on you and you say, hey, I appreciate the conversation or whatnot. I can see where this is going, and I'm with somebody, so I have to shut this down. Some version of that, however you choose to do it. Then like that's her responsibility to do, and vice versa. So that person, I don't have anything on because you're supposed to shoot your shot if you see something, right? But it's when somebody is in a relationship and you still choose to ignore that because you want what you want.
And that, for me, I look at that has nothing to do with you. That is 100% correct. That has absolutely nothing to do with you, because I know that you are going to shut it down because you're in a relationship. I get that. I know that. Has nothing to do with you. But like you said, there are some men that will still hear that and still keep going. And there are some women who will hear that and still keep going. And that's where I have a problem on both sides of the equation. That's where I have a problem. When you hear me say, I'm in a relationship and you still keep approaching, I have major issues with that. And unfortunately, I have seen that in past relationships. Now, could that be that I just dated trash and trash didn't shut things down the way that they should have, and because of that, it's like, why do I keep hearing about women who were hitting on you? Why do women, you know what, I'm gonna just put it out there so that Tom can understand where I'm coming from. The person that I was dating before King, one day he went out to the bar with some of his female coworkers who did not like me anyway. And I will get to the story as to why those women did not like me. But he went out to the bar with them. One of them lived like 30 minutes away and got really, really drunk that night. And my ex decided that the best thing that he could do was to let that woman come over and sleep in his bed. So I come over to his house the next day, and here we have a half naked woman in his bed. Okay? He had no doors on his bedroom. So, and he had one bathroom in his house, and I needed to go upstairs to the bathroom. So I go upstairs to use the bathroom, and there is a half naked woman in his bed. That was traumatizing for me.
I bet.
It was very, very, very traumatizing for me, because you're talking about someone who has been cheated on multiple times in my past. I even have an ex who, I love him. We're friends now. He cheated on me with a man who knew me. The man knew me. And the guy that, my ex cheated on me with, he and I had gone to high school together. So, like, he knew of me. He knew exactly who I was. He could pinpoint me in the crowded room, not one of those, oh, I can pick them out in the lineup. Like, he knew exactly who I was. And that happened. So I have a history of, like, men who cheated on me. Some who, whatever, fell victim to whatever. So me seeing that woman in my ex's bed, traumatizing, brought up a lot of hurt things from the past. My issues are my issues and have nothing to do with Kane. Not saying that I don't trust you and what you do, because I know you care about me too much to do that. But just saying.
Now, let me add to that. One of the things that I was also very clear early on, and this is because I identified this, is that I didn't want to have to pay for what other people did to Michelle prior to me.
Right.
And Michelle had uttered the same thing, but to me, that was important. And I don't know how to say this because it's going to sound like things are being ranked, but it's not about ranking people's trauma. Michelle, you have experienced some really bad things in your life. And I can understand that that can really harden someone's heart. It could really cause someone to have some really deep things that they have to, work through. From what I saw, you knew what they were, you did work through them, and man, how do I say this?
Just say it.
There wasn't going to be a second time if you ever made me pay for what somebody else did.
That's fair because you said that. You said that. And I told you, it's not. When I met you, I knew that things were different. Like, I instantly knew. We met on August 6th, 2022, and I knew then. The amount of trust that I had from you straight out the gate was completely different from anything that I've ever experienced with anyone else. I knew straight out the gate that I could trust you. Never ever doubted that. Still don't doubt that today. I also realized that you were not the men who hurt me intentionally or accidentally, so I couldn't take that out on you. Excuse me. So that was something that I was very intentional on doing, not making you pay for what other people have done. Another phrase is not bleeding on someone else who didn't cut you or something like that. Like, I made very, very intentional efforts to not make you pay for other things. So I agree.
Shout out to Pete. Pete's in the building. That is Sparta HQ Network. I appreciate you tuning in, man. Paul asked a question. If folks continuously hit on one of y'all, could you handle that? Can a partner be too attractive? I'll start. I could handle it because I don't think I understand what jealousy is.
Just for clarification, Paul, do you mean the same person? So if person A keeps hitting on King over and over again, or if different people continuously hit on King over and over again? Because for me, those are two different answers.
It is. Now, I read it and understood it as we're out in the wild. Like every time you go out, people are going to hit on you. Am I comfortable with that? Yes, I am, right? If it's the same person that's doing it constant, just like you just said, that is a different answer. I think that if it's obvious that somebody is hitting on you and it's that same person, it is that person's responsibility to shut that down. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it in that scenario. What do you have to add to it?
So the way I look at it, because I look at it from I'm a woman. If you're nearby and a person keeps hitting on me, and I'm like, no, thank you. I'm in a relationship, please, like, stop. After a while, as a woman, I'm going to kind of fall back and only ask you to step in because I may perceive a safety issue happening.
If I'm there and it's noticed, you don't have to fall back. There is a level of, hey, if somebody's doing that, they're trying me in that scenario.
Right. And in one of those situations, I'm like, yeah, after the first time, I'm not a repetitive person. I'm not about that life in general. So I feel like if I've said it to you once and we're out in public and you continue to do that, that's one of those thunder and lightning got this. I'm going to just fall back because clearly you got a hearing problem. And I'm not trying to get to the point where it gets physical in any way, shape, or form. And that is something that I do perceive when it comes to shutting down men. Like, I do have to consider my safety in a situation. And then it's 2025. Sometimes for you men, if you're shutting down a woman, you do have to consider your safety as well.
Paul did clarify and say that he meant like other people. Like, if every time you go out, you're just constantly getting hit on, would I be okay with that? Yes, because I don't understand jealousy, and it is attractive that other people find your person,
And he's seen it often. Like, when we're out
Oh,
together.
it is hilarious. Like men, I'm not gonna say all men. There are men out there
I have one
that
type that's attracted to me, okay, y'all? One type. Older black men.
older black guys, but even like just in general, it's hilarious because sometimes like Michelle will walk in front of me because she just walks faster or whatnot, and her and I've had to have a conversation about that.
I stopped that too.
Uh, but I, I can almost tell it's gonna happen 100% of the time. She walks past, and I don't know if it's the smell, if it's the way you walk or whatnot, but they will every single time, 100% of the time, and like I can almost tell that it's gonna happen. And when I do, I just smile and I'll tell her about it later. I find it hilarious that I have an uncle. That uncle was the same way. He would be driving, and if anybody's walking, he go right here, swerving while he drives. He's like, "Oh, keep your eyes on the road, man."
My ex would do that with me. Like,
oh, see, that's mad disrespectful.
but that's what I'm saying. He would do that with me. Like I told you about the whole snapping pictures of other women when we were out together and stuff like that, and how we had gone out to celebrate my birthday.
That's ridiculous.
And he was taking a picture of me, and then I heard him take a picture of another woman because he still had the camera shutter on his phone. So like I heard that. Like
that's insane. And I want to go up here and acknowledge something that Time wrote because it's two parts here. Actually, no, three parts. Time spoke earlier about what you said. Now, Queen, that is trauma, and I do understand what you're saying. Followed that up with, I don't even have the guts to be dating somebody to have another woman half naked in my house. That is the ultimate disrespect. There's no, if you were to do that because you're concerned for safety, like let's what if this. You're on the couch in a public thing and you're there, and I'm notifying you to say, hey, we went out, so-and-so lives 40 minutes away, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're over the house on the couch, just so that you're aware. And I'm just what ifing this scenario. To me, that would be at least an appropriate level of response and respect out of the other person. Hey, heads up, this is what happened. Now, if you still feel some type of way about that, that's a whole different thing. Yet, that still, to me, shows respect for you by doing that. So, to have this person like in the bed as well, come on, man. I don't know if he watches our stuff. He might watch our stuff.
I don't care.
But come on, man. I would be curious. If you do watch our stuff, you know who you are. If you'd be willing to come on and have a conversation with just me, not me, Michelle, and him, just me, because I would like to quarterback what the world you were thinking in that scenario, because nothing about it makes sense. And that's the thing. Maybe it's just not going to make sense. Maybe it was what he tried to tell you in the moment to soften how you probably went off on him, but yeah, I don't get it.
I'm going to be honest. I am that person. I didn't go all the way off on him in the moment. I told her to get up and leave.
Interesting. Okay. A drunk person? Like, was she still drunk at the time?
She was asleep. I don't know. She was probably hungover at that moment. I was loud enough to be heard.
Okay. Time followed that up by said, well, one of the things when you're dealing with a person who has been traumatized and hurt is that you try your best to do better than the other person if you really care about the person that was traumatized.
And I agree with that, yet I also challenge, like 100% agree with that. I also challenge and say you should not move on into a relationship with someone else if you're still holding on to that much trauma.
Mm-hmm.
My trauma is that I don't forget. Like that is a part of my PTSD. I don't forget. So I try to not put myself in that same situation, but I'm also trying not to bring those things to King. Like I met King when I was turning 36 years
36.
old.
Yeah.
If I had brought to you all of the pain that I had been dealing with
I can handle it.
from 6 until 36, we're talking about 30 years of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would have been way, way, way too much. And then, respectfully, even if I had brought to you the trauma from my previous relationship into our relationship, that would have been too much trauma. I brought the stories, but I had to leave some of that pain in there. Some of it had to stay to continue to shape me to who I am today, because I need to hold on to that. If not, I'd be entirely too trusting. But I couldn't bring all of that to you. You didn't deserve it.
I couldn't handle it.
You couldn't handle it. You don't deserve it. You get the stories, but like, that's it. That's all you get.
I also think that there's a difference, and this is a nugget that I'm going to give for people out there. There's a difference in somebody being honest about their trauma and what they're dealing with versus them being insecure about it and telling you after the fact. Michelle was very open and honest up front. Part of that is she has a website, www.godhappenedtome.com, in which she very openly poured out her life on that website. So it was easy for me to kind of digest and like, let me see how she is even before I knew her and met her, and at least read it from a lens of this is how she was then, right? Because 2020, 2022, 2021 Michelle is not 2024, 2023 Michelle.
Right.
So as I was reading it, I'm like, okay, I am understanding this is how she is from this standpoint. This was her mindset in that moment, and not judge her by how she was when I met her then. Because, sidebar, one of the things that you vlogged about was being married and having kids.
Oh, yeah. That Michelle hadn't been in the classroom that long.
So as we were talking and I was getting to know her, I brought it up. I was like, hey, I can't have any more kids. I have gotten a vasectomy. Is that a big deal? Because if that's what you desire, then you can't get that from me. And marriage, I was like, not sure I want to do that again.
I can go hold a baby. I realized I realized that I don't want to have children. And there's some times where I feel like I'm being selfish by saying I don't want to have children, because there's so many women who desire to have but don't have the ability to, and who knows, I probably have the ability to, but I don't have the desire. So there are some times where I feel like that's so selfish to think that. But then I also think, I don't think, like, I see the way children were raised in my family, and I don't want to bring a child into that environment, even if it's not on an immediate or direct level. I want like nothing to do with that.
Now, we've talked about this.
We've talked about this at length.
And one of the things that I said is, I said, yes, your family's history and what they've done is them. I'm like, however, I would believe you to be a fantastic mother, and it's the person that you choose to start that family with that is also a factor in that equation as well. Now, if you happen to have picked bad,
so like,
that's a bad draw.
So then there were two things that came to mind. So number one, I was like, what if they were all just like me before they had kids, and then having kids was like the switch that changed them? Number one.
Okay.
And then number two, so I have this child, and I have a child in isolation, so they never come in contact with my family at all, because some of the toxicity isn't because they're raising kids, but it's just like a part of who they are. You know what I mean? Like, my family, both sides of my family are loud. One is loud with love, and the other not so much. And just like, I can't stand all of that, like, loudness. I can't stand all of what?
What's the difference between loud and love? I don't understand that.
Loud with love.
Oh, loud with love.
Which side of the family do you think I'm talking about when I say that?
Loud with love, I think, would be, what side of the family was the one that we went to the reunion
Exactly.
with? Okay.
That side. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then the
Gotcha.
other side, they just
Okay.
laugh.
All right.
You
Gotcha.
see the difference?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, all right. Let's see. King said off topic, why are your lips red? It's the filter
It's
that
the
we
filter that
use.
we have. Yeah.
That's really the only answer to that. But this gives the best pop for what we want, Pete. There ain't that red. Yeah. Tom said if she was open and honest with you, that means that she trusts you, King, in her way. Absolutely. And see, that is what allowed me, that's what allowed the relationship to flourish with how it was. Because I don't know if you're aware, Tom, we started on a friendship contract first, and then that evolved into a relationship contract. We actually have a contract in this. And what we decided that we were going to do, did we talk about this yet on the live stream?
We haven't talked about it live. No, I don't think
I don't think so. We're moving in together in January.
That we have talked about.
And we're going to have an updated version of our contract so that when we cohabitate together, we have an understanding of what that looks like. So that's going to involve us communicating more. That's going to ensure that we lay everything out so that there are no surprises. And there's going to be some things that might come up because it's difficult to just try and catch everything.
Right.
But if we capture as much as we can, then when life inevitably hits us, there's stresses that occur, you stress or de-stress. It's my opinion that if you at least have a plan or something that you can use to say, hey, this is what we agreed to, then when the de-stress happens, you're able to cope and get through it a lot easier because you've already talked about it.
Right.
That's what I think really makes relationships not work. I always say a measure of your relationships is how you handle the bad stress. If you didn't have bad stress, you can go through your entire life, your entire relationship with somebody, be happy, breathe, and then once your heart has as many as heartbeats as it's going to have and stops, it's it, game over. But it's how you handle stress that occurs both together and individually that really determines how successful and how happy that relationship is going to be going forward. That's how I look at it anyway.
All right. So Tom asked a question. Look, when we did the friendship contract, we had some jokes in there. Like number one, it said that I will never become a fan of or support Auburn University.
Because we roll tide over here.
We roll tide.
What else?
It said King must always, in the presence of me, refer to my hometown as Baltimore. Never that, other thing that they be trying to say. Number three, I will continue to treat him with respect and dignity, deserving of any friend and companion. Number four, he will continue to see me, not overlooking me or taking me for granted. Number five, road trips must include either banging music or bomb conversations or a combination of the two.
Is that in a relationship contract?
No, this is the friendship contract.
I'm saying because you know how the music's changed.
But we have bomb conversation.
Okay.
Or I take a really good nap.
Okay.
It was, slight modification. But no, this is the friendship one.
Okay.
Number six, snacks are a necessary component of the friendship. And number seven, in the event of a gathering where both parties are dressed to the nines, aka slayed by the gods, it is mutually agreed upon that that night will not end young and pictures must be taken. Oh, I love it. Earlier in the contract, it says this friendship shall last into foreverness as long as the following mutual terms are forever met. And then that was a part of the mutual terms.
So did we have anything about touching or kissing?
In the friendship contract? No.
I think that was intentional. Right?
Yeah, we were kind of looking into the future.
That was intentional. Okay. Let's see. Tom also said, King, I hope you have a man cave. I think every man should have a man cave.
I agree he should. But it'll be your office when we move.
Because
they don't have basements in there, right?
I'm going to say something. The man cave is the entire house.
I didn't see that coming.
But yes, I think that, I mean, depending on how you are, like, I'm the type of person that I just like to have a space that's mine, like all mine, like free of her influence whatsoever. I want that. It's not going to be some corner of the house. It's not going to be the basement. It is going to be an identified place.
Okay.
Boom.
So I was thinking about this, oddly enough. I was thinking about if we somehow lucked in and got the 4-bedroom.
Okay.
I was like, King gets his own dedicated office.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get my own dedicated office, even though I don't need that much space, but my elephants need space.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, I'm still a Delta and I got like 75 million elephants everywhere.
All right.
And then the 4th room can be Castle's room / the guest room. Because the reality is, I thought about it. If we have a dedicated guest room, independent from Castle's room, then people will always try to stay with us.
Oh, yeah. That's not a thing.
That's not a thing. So I thought about that. I thought, like, it was literally playing over in my head. I was like, wait a minute. We won't have a dedicated guest room? Oh, no. That don't make no sense.
You and I are moving to a gated community anyway, so it's not like people can just easily pop up.
It's not like they could, but still.
It is. So we're not joking. It's just, it's not the way you think, but we do have armed guards. So you can't just pop up on us.
You can't. No.
That is hilarious. People are going to be like, wait, really? They got it like that? Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. All right, let's see.
Because if you don't have snacks in the contract, is it really a contract?
Baltimore is so much fun in the summertime, and I always take my friends down there to get the best crab cakes in the world. Tom, where are you from?
I love that Tom acknowledged that the best crab cakes in Baltimore.
I
Come
agree.
on now.
I've had crab cakes from all over, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that it's the Old Bay. I have no idea, but Baltimore does definitely have the best crab cakes.
Hey, it's
Like-
the Old Bay. Okay,
Like,
I'm
even
sorry.
where we're at, which is an hour away, there's one place, but it still doesn't compare because you could go to any place. Like, I haven't had a bad crab cake from any place in Baltimore, but I have had some bad crab cakes where we live.
Yeah.
There's 2 places here that I trust to have them,
Okay.
but I can't do crab cakes anymore.
I was about to say, so you can't.
Goodness
it doesn't even
gracious.
matter.
Are pets in y'all future? And I don't mean the fish tank. No, we
No.
like to travel and do a lot of things like that. So to have an extra thing to consider with traveling, like if you have
Liability.
dogs, yeah, basically another liability. It's just not in the future. Like, that money could be used to upgrade amenities, experience something while we're out.
And I had a bunny run away from me, so there is that. So no.
And if we're having to pay for boarding or to have somebody to come over to watch the dog, to me, that's just extra that I'm not willing to do. I'm not saying that when things slow down, it's not out of the realm. Like a dog?
A picture of a dog or like an actual?
Oh, wow. So you're like, even if we're just like, we're in rocking chair age.
Dogs still gotta be walked.
Yes. And if I still have 2 feet, that's getting in steps. I'm not trying to find an excuse to make one. I don't have a desire like that. I can see a future in which, when things slow down, that there could be one. But trust me, I'm not pitching for one.
Okay.
But I am saying that in my vision, there is a realm that it could be a possibility.
Okay.
That's it. That's all. Definitely, no, trust me, definitely not pitching for one. Liabilities for sure. We are on the same page about that. Let's see. I have elephants too and dolphins. Nice. The man cave is the whole house. Do you want to get in trouble already? It is the whole house. Now, specifically though, what I've told Michelle, I'm not a feng shui person. I'm not a let's build this thing to make it a home. That's not me. I don't know if it's her. Like, I'm just, because I don't know if we've talked about this.
As long as my elephants have a home, we'll be
So
kidding.
when it comes to how we're going to furnish the house, I'm the type of person who's like, does it make sense? If so, I'm with it. Other than that, is it comfortable? Cool. I'm with it. Outside of that, color, type, anything like that, I personally don't care. So the rest of the house, certainly I believe you might be the one that's driving that per se.
Can we paint the walls in?
I think you have to request to be able to paint walls.
Okay.
Oh, no, I do know this answer. Yes. But when you move out,
You have to repaint it.
you have to restore it back.
Okay.
And depending on how long we're living there, you have to ask yourself, is it worth the headache of doing that or not?
It's not.
Okay. Let's see. No guest rooms, please. You're going to get anybody, that's just going to want to come and stay for no apparent reason.
And yeah, I'm not about that life.
100%. Do we have any additional things? Oh, okay, here we go. The thing I love about the contract is that it's got to have snacks and you have to have real R&B music. So let's talk about this music thing.
You were gonna double back to it.
So this wasn't in the relationship contract when it came to the music, because part of what we were doing when we were in our friendship phase, I'm going to say this on camera.
For all 2 months.
I'm going to say this on camera. As I was getting to know her, I really enjoyed her company. She was fun to be around. It was nice to go and do things and explore with somebody that I was friends with. And so the road trip stuff, people always like, man, it seems like y'all are always somewhere. We are, but we aren't. We do
just
travel.
Post good pictures. We just post really good pictures.
So the music thing was a part of that friendship contract. Well, we had a bit of a titi-ta-ta.
What?
I don't know. I was trying to be fancy with it.
Tete-a-tete?
Tete-a-tete.
Mm-hmm.
We had a riff at one point, and I was playing music that, in my opinion, it's music that I would play in my car, no matter if Castle was in the car or if Michelle was in the car. But I guess whatever particular songs that I had on at that point when we had our tit-tat, Michelle felt like I was sending subliminal messages to her. So when she brought it up, it was to me out of left field, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So I said, okay, from now on, when she's in the car with me, it's no longer any podcast. It is no longer R&B, rap, hip hop, which was stuff that I always played. It's jazz music. And it is jazz music or classical music.
The thing you have to know about King is when King sets his mind to do something, and we're alike in this, but it just presents differently. When King sets his mind on something, he is a statue when it comes to that, okay? He's not going to. Even if I wanted to listen to something, like we had Castle and we were talking about classic 90s music and she had no clue what it was. And I'm like, this is a perfect teachable moment where we can teach this young child about everything and have her know, not even 90s, it was 2000s because, it was specifically Juvenile, coming in for the 99 into 2000s. And I'm ready to listen to this playlist. And King is like, no, we're not going to play this playlist. And I'm like, sir, not everything has to be that statuesque.
It does.
It does not.
My reasoning is I said, man, if that's what I got about that, then what else can happen? So then I go, well, if I don't do this, there's no way you can misconstrue classical music as something that's subliminal. So
what if you're silent? What if you're secretly trying to tell me to stop talking, and that's why you have music that has no words in it?
That was a good reach.
I'm saying, right?
It was good, but a good reach.
Thank you.
So yes, so from now on until whenever her and I are in the car together, if music is played out loud, it's classical or jazz, and I am not changing that, and I'm not sorry about it either. You did this.
That's what I'm saying, Mr. He said, for the 99 into 2000s.
Do you like the jazz at least? Probably not.
I mean, if I say no, then what am I going to get? Silence in the car ride?
Time's up in the Boston, New York area, and my father lives in DC. Dope.
Nice.
Dope.
All the major cities.
And Mr. He said jazz music for the relaxing ride, and then hit a for the 99 and the 2000. Minute, man, yeah. Minute, man, yeah.
What's that?
I don't want to cuss because we said no cussing on our live stream.
That's not what I thought happened.
He bad, yeah. Want to slide in the back, yeah. Eating snacks, yeah. It's 11. It's 8:11. You have work tomorrow.
I do have work tomorrow. I got a busy week.
We did a whole pivot, but
a whole pivot. I was just about to say, at the end of the day, my only question is, and this isn't me trying to be nosy. This is me trying to find solutions, like real solutions for people, because here at the King and Me show, we like to keep things real, with real being
relatable,
entertaining,
accountable,
and loving. So I legitimately wanted to know, like, what causes an 18-year relationship to break up as soon as a wedding happens. Like, and that's not me trying to be nosy. Like, I'm not trying to be all up in their business, but I'm just like, could you give tips and advice on how people cannot make the same mistake? Because that's what I like. I like solutions. I'm solution oriented, solution driven. I want to know, how can other people fix this? So it's not that I'm trying to be all in their business, but I'm just legitimately curious, because y'all were together for 18 years before marriage, and then you get married and you're only together like less than 15 days. What happened? Not how can the two of y'all get back together, but was it a lack of communication? Did something happen? Like, how can other people have hope for their relationships lasting? So I guess that's where I would come in. But I see we had a question.
Yes, Paul asked, let me scroll up here. When did King introduce his daughter to Michelle? Was it in the friendship phase or when we became serious? It was in the friendship phase,
It was
right?
in the friendship phase. And I have to smile because King did not take that moment as seriously as I did. Like, it was kind of a, oh yeah, this is Castle type thing. And I'm like, I went back home to my friends and I was like, oh my God, y'all, I met his daughter. Like, I met his daughter. Like, that's big. Because to me, I register that as like a big thing. For King, it's just like, okay, you know.
Where were we? Because I don't remember.
We were here.
Here at the house?
Mm-hmm.
Was it like
you and I were on the couch? Yeah.
Okay.
You and I, or was it the summer? It was the summer, so I don't think it was your weekend thing. I think it was still the summer before school started.
Okay.
But yeah, we were here.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, and like Castle's always liked Michelle. There was a point, and this was definitely after the friendship phase, in the relationship phase. Early in the relationship, she called her like an auntie.
Yeah.
And then
she said
considers,
she viewed me as an auntie.
Mm-hmm. And then now she considers Michelle as a bonus mom. And look, we'll end there, or like end on this conversation. I'm grateful for that. It's a good thing that we can have our relationship and there's no static with Castle and her mother and all of those combined. There's no static there. Could the relationship work if there was static? Yes. I think it could have worked, but it would have had to been one of those things that boundaries would have had to been set, like strict boundaries. And the question would then become, would one of us break with those boundaries because they might be too restrictive? And the question then becomes why? Like, why are all of these things set in place just for us to be able to attempt to have a loving, healthy relationship? So I'm grateful that Castle views you the way that she does. I'm grateful that her mother and you get along real well. They're going to be going to the orientation at college for Castle, and you can only have 2 people go. So Castle's
No
mother
King.
and Michelle are going to go with Castle to her college orientation. I'm not going to be there. I feel no, I'm just playing. No, she couldn't be in better hands, and it's great that the support is there for future young adults, and that everybody's around is invested in that person's success, and I'm thankful for that. So we'll end there.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Let's go in here. Time said King, there's a jazz musician named Kurt Wallum. I'm assuming it's Wallum. He has an album doing babyface songs. Check it out. Let me take a screenshot of that, because if I don't, I will forget. And okay, I got it. Let's see. Paul Bennett said maybe that could be a future topic, kids and dating. We have done one.
We've done
but
one,
we
but
can
we
explore
do
it through
yeah.
other avenues. Absolutely. And Time also said you got to pay Castle.
Play.
You have to play. Wait.
You got to play Castle some MC Light.
You got to play Castle some MC Light and some Special Ed and some Jungle Brothers, LL Cool J, real hip hop. I played Hall and Oates in the car. Sarah Smile. Sarah Smiles. Now this is the Boondocks version. Won't you smile a while for me, Sarah?
It's time to go, baby.
But as we were pulling up, like I was jamming with it.
And you turned it off as soon as you pulled up.
Hall and Oates. No, this was at Sheets the other day. So I get out the car, and the person that was in the passenger side goes, "You playing her some good music?" I said, "Yeah, gotta teach these youngin." Hall and Oates, which I thought Hall and Oates were black. They are not black.
Oh my gosh.
But their music is fantastic. Check out Hall and Oates. All right, let's see. And Time followed up with and said that that's awesome. A loving family meets everything. It absolutely does. Now, great episode. I know we did a whole pivot from the main thing, but it's great when you have people that are engaging in the chat and stuff like that. It makes it fun. And time flew. I looked down and was like, wait, it's 8 already. Goodness gracious. So we like to thank everybody for tuning in.
Thanks, y'all.
In the link of the description on most of our platforms is our website. Please check out our website. We've got different merch and stuff. And we would appreciate the support as like that'd just be dope to see. It would be dope to be at an airport and see somebody in like something King and
M
related.
I am telling you now, if that happens, I am passing out. Like I am going full on and just like totally passing out.
And we have other platforms as well. We also post on an audio-only platform, and we're going to have some exclusive stuff coming up. Don't know where we're going to put the exclusive stuff just yet.
On our website.
So follow us on all of our stuff. We have Castle's graduation coming up, prom, and then there's a month of intentional nothing for me. You have something coming up. And then we're going to Japan in July. There's a countdown on that phone that we're using as a camera. But it's like 75 days or so away from Japan.
So in May, we have her final play. We have the following weekend, prom. So final play is this weekend. Prom is next weekend. Weekend after that, we have the concert, the choir dinner thing.
Yes.
Then we have graduation. Got to get through hers and get my school through ours. Then June is a month of quiet and relaxation because financially we ain't finna do nothing. I am gonna do something special for my man for Father's Day.
You are?
Huh?
Why?
And then we have 2 graduation parties and a baby shower all on the same day in June. But then like other than that, so that's literally one weekend where we're spending money. And then like other than that, we're sitting down for the month of June because I'm traveling in July and then we're traveling in July.
Yeah, you can sit down for the entire month of June. The entire month.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I love you.
I love you too.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. We appreciate y'all. You come to me this time.
Okay. Let me come because the train is going this way.
Bye, y'all.
Baby.
Love you.